Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An artifact that is one of the individual parts of which a composite entity is made up, especially a part that can be separated from or attached to a system. Spare components for cars. An abstract part of something. Jealousy was a component of his character. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. The smaller component is hard to reach. An artifact that is one of the individual parts of which a composite entity is made up, especially a part that can be separated from or attached to a system. A component or constituent element of a system. An abstract part of something. Two constituents of a musical composition are melody and harmony. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. The animal constituent of plankton. Constitutional in the structure of something, especially your physical makeup. Grammar. A word or phrase or clause forming part of a larger grammatical construction. A member of a constituency. A citizen who is represented in a government by officials for whom he or she votes. Needs continued support by constituents to be re-elected. An artifact that is one of the individual parts of which a composite entity is made up, especially a part that can be separated from or attached to a system. A component or constituent element of a system. Any of the more than 100 known substances, of which 92 occur naturally, that cannot be separated into simpler substances and that singly or in combination constitute all matter. An abstract part of something. The grammatical elements of a sentence. A straight line that generates a cylinder or cone. One of four substances thought in ancient and medieval cosmology to constitute the physical universe. The alchemists believed that there were four elements. The most favorable environment for a plant or animal. Water is the element of fishes. The situation in which you are happiest and most effective. In your element. A businessman who buys or sells for another in exchange for a commission. Genetics. A segment of DNA that is involved in producing a polypeptide chain. It can include regions preceding and following the coding DNA as well as introns between the exons. It is considered a unit of heredity. Genes were formerly called factors. An abstract part of something. A key factor in her success. One of two or more integers that can be exactly divided into another integer. What are the four factors of 6? Consider as relevant when making a decision. You must factor in the recent developments. Resolve into factors. A quantum computer can factor the number 15. An independent variable in statistics. Any of the numbers, or symbols, that form a product when multiplied together. Anything that contributes causally to a result. A number of factors determine the outcome. Be a contributing factor. Make things factor into a company's profitability. Food that is a component of a mixture in cooking. An abstract part of something. Humor. An effective ingredient of a speech. A component of a mixture or compound. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. An individual quantity of food or drink taken as part of a meal. His portion was larger than hers. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The allotment of some amount by dividing something. Money or property brought by a woman to her husband at marriage. Give out. Your overall circumstances or condition in life, including everything that happens to you. Success that was her portion. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. I read a portion of the manuscript. A group of ships of similar type. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The BBC's engineering division. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. Discord that splits a group. A league ranked by quality. A unit of the United States Air Force usually comprising 2 or more wings. An administrative unit in government or business. An arithmetic operation that is the inverse of multiplication, the quotient of 2 numbers as computed. An army unit large enough to sustain combat. 2 infantry divisions were held in reserve. Biology. A group of organisms forming a subdivision of a larger category. Botany. Taxonomic unit of plants corresponding to a phylum. The act or process of dividing. A self-contained part of a larger composition, written or musical. He always turns first to the business section. A specialized division of a large organization. She got a job in the historical section of the Treasury. The cutting of or into body tissues or organs, especially by a surgeon as part of an operation. Geometry. The area created by a plane cutting through a solid. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The finance section of the company. A small class of students who are part of a larger course but are taught separately. A graduate student taught sections for the professor's lecture course. Divide into segments. One of several parts or pieces that fit with others to constitute a whole object. A section of a fishing rod. A distinct region or subdivision of a territorial or political area or community or group of people. No section of the nation is more ardent than the South. A division of an orchestra containing all instruments of the same class. A land unit equal to 1 square mile. A segment of a citrus fruit. He ate a section of the orange. A small army unit usually having a special function. A small team of policemen working as part of a police platoon. A very thin slice, of tissue or mineral or other substance, for examination under a microscope. Sections from the left ventricle showed diseased tissue. Law. The principle that an act done at a later time is deemed by law to have occurred at an earlier time. His attorney argued for the relation back of the amended complaint to the time the initial complaint was filed. Sexual activity between individuals, especially the insertion of a man's penis into a woman's vagina until orgasm and ejaculation occur. A person related by blood or marriage. He has distant relations back in New Jersey. An act of narration. He was the hero according to his own relation. An abstraction belonging to or characteristic of two entities or parts together. Usually plural, mutual dealings or connections among persons or groups. International relations. Colorless glass made of almost pure silica. A protective cover that protects the face of a watch. A rock formed by the solidification of a substance, has regularly repeating internal structure, external plane faces. A crystalline element used as a component in various electronic devices. A solid formed by the solidification of a chemical and having a highly regular atomic structure. Glassware made of quartz. Computer science, the mechanical, magnetic, electronic, and electrical components making up a computer system. Instrumentalities, tools or implements, made of metal. Major items of military weaponry, as tanks or missile. The component of a heater or range that transforms fuel or electricity into heat. A component that is added to something to improve it. Someone devoted to the promotion of human welfare and to social reforms. Signal going into an electronic system. A statement that expresses a personal opinion or belief or adds information. We would appreciate input from our users on how we can improve our software. Any stimulating information or event acts to arouse action. A component of production, something that goes into the production of output. Enter data or a program into a computer. Clothing that is worn or carried, but not part of your main clothing. Aiding and abetting in a crime. He was charged with being accessory to the crime. A supplementary component that improves capability. Someone who helps another person commit a crime. Furnishing added support. A component that is added to something to improve it. A supplementary component that improves capability. A software module that extends or enhances the capabilities of an existing application. Something added to what you already have. He was a new addition to the staff. A component that is added to something to improve it. The addition of a bathroom was a major improvement. A quantity that is added. There was an addition to property taxes this year. The arithmetic operation of summing, calculating the sum of two or more numbers. A suburban area laid out in streets and lots for a future residential area. The act of adding one thing to another. The addition of flowers created a pleasing effect. A supplementary component that improves capability. Equipment consisting of miscellaneous articles needed for a particular operation or sport, etc. An audible acoustic wave frequency. A recording of acoustic signals. The audible part of a transmitted signal. They always raise the audio for commercials. The sound elements of television. A component of an automobile. His business is auto parts. A component of an automobile. Computer science, the mechanical, magnetic, electronic, and electrical components making up a computer system. Component consisting of a side piece opposite the moldboard. The act that results in something coming to be. The making of measurements. An attribute that must be met or complied with and that fits a person for something. She has the makings of fine musician. Usually plural, the components needed for making or doing something. The recipe listed all the makings for a chocolate cake. One of the inherent cognitive or perceptual powers of the mind. A self-contained component, unit or item, that is used in combination with other components. Computer circuit consisting of an assembly of electronic components, as of computer hardware. Detachable compartment of a spacecraft. Computer science, the smallest discrete component of an image or picture on a CRT screen, usually a colored dot. Computer science, the smallest discrete component of an image or picture on a CRT screen, usually a colored dot. Computer science, the smallest discrete component of an image or picture on a CRT screen, usually a colored dot. The greater the number of pixels per inch, the greater the resolution. A component or accessory added to something after it has been manufactured. Fit in or on an existing structure, such as an older house. The mansion was retrofitted with modern plumbing. Provide with parts, devices, or equipment not available or in use at the time of the original manufacture. They car companies retrofitted all the old models with new carburetors. Substitute new or modernized parts or equipment for older ones. The laboratory retrofitted to meet the safety codes. The act of adding a component or accessory to something that did not have it when it was manufactured. The court ordered a retrofit on all automobiles.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.